You want to say something?
No, I just, when you were speaking, it just made me just think about like when you get, all of us, when we get into these dark places, right? Like I was in a really, really dark place. 2020, 2021 was like, I felt like I was just in this dark hole and I'd never been in that place before. And then as I opened up about it, I found some of my other friends and associates were also too coming out of just like a very dark place. I want to know, like, how did you all deal with coming out of a dark place? Or have you ever been in a dark place and just had to use certain tools to get out of it?
You want to go?
I'd say for me, regarding a dark place, I think some of my greatest accomplishments comes from being in a dark place, honestly. For me, I don't ever want to be held down or be down for too long or be depressed for too long. I'm the type that kind of almost ignore. I know I'm there, but I refuse to feel it. And I use that energy to do something bigger and better so that whoever put me in that dark place can see me shining bright.
Have you ever been in a place though where you couldn't pull yourself out though? So it's one thing when you're in a dark place and then like you're like, I'm not going to allow myself to be here. But have you ever been in a place where it's like, I can't get up?
Not me.
My mother,
think of that.
When my mother transitioned, that was my dark place. And it like you said, grief is not a step by step, you know, it was a process. I was homeless because of it. I just gave up on life. I was the walking dead. But what happened for me, because I went to several funerals after my mother transitioned, and it was like family members, I was just there like, well, you know, I was so
numb to it.
Yeah, it's like my mom is like, I love you, cuz, but
and the
most important person to you goes.
That does sound terrible. It's transparent. But then I went to my uncle's funeral, and his pastor went up there, and he said, death is a misunderstood reality. And that one thing, it was like, oh, you know, I didn't take it personal. So it just,
what is the misunderstanding?
Well, the misunderstanding is we know it's going to happen, but we don't. It's like nobody really thinks about, you know, the last day on earth. But, you know, we all know it's going to happen. But when it happens, it's kind of like, why God? Or, you know, why me? Or why? Because it's inevitable. It's something we all going to have to face one day. And it's not really a bad thing. Death is a part of life. It's a part of it. You know, you can't have life without death. So, but when it happens, because this gift of life that you have, because a gift is something you didn't earn, you don't deserve it. But this gift that we have, we just like, this is mine, I own it. So when something happens to somebody, selfishly we feel like, yo, that was my mom. But when you're watching the news, and for that moment, like, oh, that's messed up, turn the game back on. You know what I'm saying? But now it was your mom. I was like, wait a minute, it's personal. This was my mother. But my mother was a great person. So was that child's mother. You know what I mean? So it's nothing. It's just because I was mad at God. I was mad at God. Yeah, I was mad at God. I felt like, man, I got my Uncle Edwin. This dude smoked crack, steal, and he had all the funerals.
Y'all not supposed to laugh at that.
I don't know if that's funny.
Because we all got family members like that.
He and my mom were talking about, man, they got chicken in. I'm like, man, shut it. Uncle Edwin is high at the funeral. I'm like, God, why?
Stop.
Why didn't you take him, God? Don't just, you know, what y'all doing up there? So, so I was a little mad. I was mad at God. I was. But
you stayed in that dark place for a while.
I was there for years. I was there for some years. I mean, I got into. I was facing 30 years in prison. I was living a very illegal life, but I got into the streets because I grew up in the hood, but I was never a streeter. I ain't sell no dope as a kid. I played sports. I sung, but all of my friends were, you know, in the streets. And then my mom had cancer. I'm like, yo, I'm about to rob a bank, literally. And my boy like, hey, whoa. She's gonna sell some dope. I'm like, all right. It won't go too far.
got some good friends.
Way out there.
Those are friends that you're like, hey, don't rob a bank. Just go suck a
Come on, brother. Sun is poison, brother. Don't do that.
That's how you know they care about you.
I love you, brother. Now, this is a house. So this is terrible. It's toxic, but it's real. So I got into that world, and and that became an addiction because at first it was like, this is for my mom, but then you make $40,000 in a week. You're like, ooh, that was for the women a little bit, because you was working at the mall, you ain't had nothing, and now they like you. Mm-hmm. And then my mom, when she transitioned, I lost everything, like all the stuff I had, all my cars, everything. I lost everything, and I was living in my sister had gave me a 97 Toyota Corolla. This is in 2010. This ain't that long ago. I was living in that car, and because I just didn't care. I was what you said earlier. I didn't want to get hurt again. I didn't want to love no. I didn't want to love no nothing. I didn't want to love my sister like that. I didn't want to love no woman. I didn't want to love nothing because I didn't want to feel like that hurt again. So I just was like, I don't even want to love life.
Yeah.
So I just was like, I'm out here, But then hearing what that pastor said that one day, it was like God just. I went to my uncle's funeral to be revived to life.
Wow.
Man. Q, you had a share?
Man, I'm just sitting here, right? And as we are just like going through all of these different levels, something just hit my spirit, and it was like, how well are we preparing? And what I mean by that is, so like when you're talking about if there's a fire in your house, you go through the steps that says, okay, if this happens, throw the ladder down, the fire extinguisher over here, go do this. And so when we're talking about these dark moments, my first thought would be, I'm a fighter. Mm-hmm. And I know that I can tell myself, Q, this not you. Get up, do something. Fight mode, never flight mode, right? I'm always telling myself that. But as we're talking about it, like you said, but have you ever just been in a dark, dark place? And so now, as we're talking in my mind, I'm like, okay, what happens, Q, when you do get in a space that's like dark and you cannot fight? And the thing that came to my mind was prepare. That means I need to prepare and call people that I know that love me and trust me, that I trust to say, hey, if you ever see me in a space
before you get there,
as a fighter, you know Q gonna get up.
Yeah.
But if one day you don't see me get up, let me put you already in line and say, yo, Q, get up, bro. This is not you. Yeah. And so that word preparation and prepared just hit me heavy because, like I said, I'm a fighter and I'm gonna tell myself every time, Q, nah, let's go. Change, put on a different hat. Let's do this. But if that doesn't happen, if I get so low to the point where I cannot move and all of those things, I need to have already prepared some people in my circle to be like, bruh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who that was? For me, it was God. Mm-hmm. Because because it was nothing nobody could have said or done in that space. Like I had everybody saying this and this and that, but it's like when my mama gone, I really want to hear none of that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, all right, bro. Like, yeah, bro, this, and his mama alive, I'm like, I don't hear that. You know what I'm saying? So God knew the only thing that was going to bring me back was for me to hear that line. That line that man said in that moment. I don't know that man. I don't know him. He wasn't there for me, but that was God. Even though I was mad at God, that's how merciful he was.
Faithful.
Because I was very upset with God.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So sometimes ain't nothing we can do for each other. Sometimes we got to lean on the higher power.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
Amen to that.
Like when Q was saying, man, that, and I started, as he was saying it, I started thinking about all the people in my life that I can call, not when I'm down, but when I'm up, and say, hey, if anything ever, if you ever see me like outside of my character,
good season,
in the good season, yeah. What was crazy is there's only a few that I can call right now that I know that they would even remember that we're having this conversation. Like, yo, I don't know if I need your help right now, but one day I will.
Yeah.
And I need the fact that there's only a few people that I can even trust to even recognize that something's wrong.
Yeah.
That really, like, I don't know. I really got like Donnie's one, right? We'll have we was actually supposed to, her birthday was the other day and we were about to have a lunch. We were all going to go. But she said something in the happy birthdays and the congratulations. She said, I forgot what she said, but I was like, my intent is what I was like, hold on. No. I was like, yo, after this, just me and Donni are going to go. This can't be like a group thing. And I don't know if it was like that deep, but it was like something that I caught because I know I'm paying attention, right? Like how many people in your life are paying attention?
Yeah.
Or just expecting you to be the fighter, like, come on, Q, get up. I don't need that right now. I need somebody to like let
or
me
love
talk.
you enough to fight for you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It was something on the Shade Room the other day. Who posted? I think it was the pastor, John Gray. Is that his name? And he posted something about Tyrese.
Yeah.
And he said, don't quote me on this, but it was something like he was in a really dark place. And he said,
I was the wrong person.
He said, I was dead. No, he said, I was dead. And Tyrese showed up to fight for me. Like he fought for me to live.
Wow.
Those are the type of people you want in your life. When I see something is wrong with you, and I'm just going to show up just to be there for you, just to be present.
Yeah.